Test 1. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1.
You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman. The woman is talking to the man regarding a job in a hotel.
First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Good morning, Villa Hotel. How can I help you?
Hello. I read about your advertisement in the midday news.
Yes, we have given more than one advertisement. Is that advertisement related to housekeeping staff?
Right. I'm interested in the cleaning department.
Great. Actually, I'm not dealing in this department. The person who is taking care of this department is not available today. Still, I can help you by giving you the basic details if you're interested.
Oh, that will be great. What kind of staff are you looking for?
The staff that we are looking for includes laundry, shoe polishing facilities, keeping the building clean, sweeping, mopping, dusting, vacuum cleaning, and bathroom cleaning. Housekeeping staff also clean the windows and public areas and remove trash and deposit it into the building dumpsters.
Absolutely right. Can you tell me the working hours?
We have 4 shifts. Early morning shift from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., morning shift from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., evening shift from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., and night shift from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m.
So, do you give the option to the people of choosing the shift timings?
Actually, we do not encourage that. The reason is that everybody would choose the shift according to their preference, but we do allow replacing 1 week shift with another shift timing.
I think it would be better if I note all this down. Also, can you tell me about the day off system?
We offer 2 days off, and you can change the days on every alternative week of the month.
Can you please tell me regarding the payment system?
Absolutely, just a moment. Yes, I have them. You get $8 per hour, which includes your break.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Will I get meals or...
Yes, we offer meals to all our staff, and there is no charge for it, which is a big relief.
Awesome.
Also, you'll be happy to know that you also get tips from our bona fide guests.
What about the uniform? Is there any uniform system? I mean, do you provide the clothes as a uniform?
Of course, it slipped out of my mind. We do provide clothes for the uniform.
Wow, that is good. As it is difficult for one to manage one's uniform, what is the color of the uniform?
Green shirt and cream trousers, no prints, just plain.
Oh, I forgot to ask about the date. From when can I join?
Can you hold for a minute? You can join from the first week of next month. You know the weather is improving.
Perfect. I'm free from next month.
Great. But I would like to inform you that you have to call again and speak with Miss Samantha Bradshaw, as she's the manager who is dealing with housekeeping department. She'll guide you as to when you come for the interaction with the manager.
Not a problem. What time should I call again?
You can call her after 2 days, as on that day she'll have time to interact with you.
So shall I call back on the same number?
No, I'll give you her number. The number is +044 888 333 5385.
Okay, I will call her.
do tell her about all information which I've given you. And also, you'll be asked some verification questions.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome.
That is the end of section 1. You now have some time to check your answers.
Section 2. You will hear a man giving some information about transport in London. You now have 30 seconds to read questions 11 to 15.
Hello, can I help you?
Yes. I was wondering what the best way was for me to get around London.
Well, there are a lot of possibilities. As you probably realise, the main ways to get around are bus, train and tube.
Oh?
The underground.
Oh.
It depends how much you want to spend. All forms of transport offer special tickets, such as cheap day returns on the trains and so on. Overall, you'll spend less on the bus, as it operates on a basic flat fare for each journey. But of course, it may not go to where you need to travel to. The mainline trains only operate in the outlying areas, though a few cross London, whereas the tube has stations which are placed in central areas of the city, close to the main sites and shops. Obviously, there are more bus stops, but you will probably have to change buses to get where you want, which can be inconvenient. You will find that the buses are mainly in the central areas, but some tube lines go quite a long way out of London, so you could use this for longer journeys. Having said that, the tubes do get very crowded, so you should use the train if you want to sit down. It does depend where you're travelling to.
Well, I'm living on the outskirts, but I have to travel into London to college every day, and then around London when I'm here.
Okay, so time is going to be an issue for you. The tube should be fast crossing London, but quite honestly, there are so many delays that it's not very efficient. Again, the train has fewer stops, so is probably your quickest option to get to and from college. Of course, which service you use might depend on how frequent it is. I mean, the trains might only be every 20 minutes or whatever, but a timetable is published to save you hanging around. There are a lot of tube trains at busy times of day, but fewer at other times. Whereas the buses run every 5 minutes through most of the day, and there are night buses. But you'll need to check out your route first.
You now have 30 seconds to read questions 16 to 20.
Okay, thanks. How can I get from here to Hackney then?
Right, well, you can choose. We're here at the information office, okay? Now, next to us, on the corner of the High Street and Sweet Street, is the bus stop, opposite the bank. The bus goes all the way to Hackney, but it is a very indirect route, so it could take ages. If you want to take the train, walk down the High Street towards the city. Go past the bank, and on your left is the station, just before you get to the post office. There's a mainline service to Hackney Wick, so if you need to get into the centre of Hackney, you may need to pick up a bus when you get there. Opposite the post office, on the corner of Hart Lane, is the tube entrance. You'll see the big signs. That's probably the best way to get there, though you may have to change. It's probably best if you go and get a travel card first. To get to the ticket office, you go out of here onto the High Street. Then turn into South Street, and the ticket office is on your right opposite the cinema. Of course, you may decide it's quicker to take a taxi. But it's a long way, so I think it'll be very expensive. If you do want to get a cab, then the rank is outside here, just opposite the office.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to section 3 on page 6 of your listening test booklet. Section 3. You will hear a student, Sandra, talking to a student advisor about her approaching exam.
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
I've got an exam tomorrow and I'm worried about how it will go. Do you have any tips? I think I'm well prepared. I've done all the revision and I've been practicing lots of exam questions, but I still feel nervous about the exam itself.
I know what you mean, but if you're well prepared, you should be fine. You just need to stay calm and keep reminding yourself that you are prepared.
That's easy to say, but in an exam, unexpected things happen.
Well, there are a few things that I found helpful. You don't want to run out of energy or feel sleepy during the exam, so make sure you eat something beforehand. Also, it's a good idea to leave home early to allow for any traffic jams or parking problems. You don't want to arrive late, or even worse, miss the exam altogether.
That's good advice. But if I get there too early, I might start getting nervous while I'm waiting.
That can happen, especially if you start talking to others about the exam. You know how they can start saying things like, there's bound to be a question on such and such, or most people failed this subject last year. I found that this kind of talk can just make you panic. So if you arrive very early, read through your notes while you were waiting. I think you'll find it helps you to stay calm.
Okay, what about during the exam? I keep thinking about the things that can go wrong.
Well, I think the most important piece of advice would be to read the instructions and questions carefully. Make sure you know how many questions and sections there are, so that you don't miss any. Then make sure you know how you're expected to answer them.
Yeah, it would be terrible to fail because I missed a whole question or section.
That's right.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
Timing is also important. You don't want to miss a question because you run out of time either. Allocate a time for each question and stick to it. And because timing is vital during an exam, I always wear a watch just in case there isn't a clock in the exam room. It helps to keep you on track. Also, if you see that time is running out, briefly answer or just guess the answer to as many of the questions as you can.
Yes, especially for multiple choice questions. I could be lucky and select the correct one.
True. Even if you don't know the answer, you could still gain valuable marks by guessing. Another important thing is to write the number of words required for an essay question. If your essay is too long or too short, you could lose a lot of marks. You could also waste a lot of time. And I have seen students do badly because they spent too much time on one essay, then didn't have enough time left to complete another one. So look to see how many marks are allocated for each essay and divide your time accordingly.
Thanks. Look, this is all terrific advice, but what if I suddenly start to panic or get a memory block in the middle of the exam?
Well, you have to think positively. You know you are prepared and you know that you can pass. As soon as you feel yourself starting to get panicky, relax and take slow, deep breaths. You should allow yourself to take a few seconds to stretch your arms, legs, neck and back occasionally too. I found that this helps. It can also be useful if you start to feel physically tired during the exam.
Yes, I can see how that could help. I'm feeling more relaxed as we speak.
Good. Oh, and one more thing. It's not a good idea to leave the room before the time is up, even if you have finished all the questions. Spelling, grammar and punctuation mistakes can make a difference to your marks. So try to leave some time at the end for checking your answers.
I don't think I'll be leaving early somehow. Look, you've been really helpful. I'm very grateful.
Not at all. You're welcome. Just remember that you've worked hard on your preparation and you are familiar with the exam. Think positively and stay calm. I'm sure you will do well. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
So, you have graduated from university and decided to continue studying towards a master's or PhD. At some stage during the next few years, you will need to consider your thesis. One of the greatest difficulties faced by postgraduate students is choosing a topic to base their dissertation on. Writing a thesis can be very daunting, but the task is much more straightforward if the topic you select is appropriate for you. So, what can you do to solve this problem? Well, there are several things to keep in mind. Firstly, you need to do your research so that you're very familiar with all the current literature. On top of this, you also need to be sure that you have a broad knowledge of your area of specialization. If you do this, it will help you with the next important point in choosing a good subject for your research, which is to ascertain what is relevant in your research area. This will be crucial in helping you to narrow your choices down. From the very beginning, it really is vital to set clear limits and to have a very fixed plan in terms of the scope of your research. It can be even more helpful to analyze existing research and ask yourself if there are any controversies. Perhaps there is a theory that you may want to challenge, and this could be the focus of your study. A further and very important factor to take into account is your own financial resources. If these are limited, then you need to avoid choosing a study that will involve costly equipment or surveys. However, if this is the case, you needn't despair or abandon your ideas altogether. Instead, make inquiries into funding from external agencies such as your local government. You may even find that local industries are willing to support your research by providing a grant. It's always worth looking around to see just what is possible. And finally, be sure to make good use of your tutor, especially when it comes to making sure that your findings are accurate.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.